What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of CMA Podcast. How is everybody doing? Back once again with another one. I am loving this. Another crazy week, guys. Another crazy, fun-filled, cold week in Switzerland. Got my tea. You know, the usual stuff that we like to engage in December, Christmas markets, shops, all that wonderful stuff. But according to a few, it's irresponsible. I don't know. I don't want to spend the time shouting into the mic, so I'm going to try and calm myself down here now and speak a little bit more coherently, I guess. Can't beat tea. Barry's tea. Barry's tea is the only way to go. If you're Irish and you drink any other tea except Barry's, you are a communist. Guys, thank you. This is more of an appreciation podcast today. I want to thank every single person who listened and watched Too Much Information last week. It has been the biggest, it hasn't been the most viewed or most listened to podcast that I've put out. But it has been the one that has generated the most feedback, and it resonate. Like, I didn't think it would resonate with so many people. I thought people would just like listen to it and then move on. But I got 36 private messages. For me, is unheard of. But 36 private messages just explaining that other people are going through the same thing that I'm going through. And I need the journey of that podcast to be acknowledged in another one. So I said, you know what? Get on again and talk about it again. Again, aware of the irony of that, but it's a topic that is causing so many problems in the world right now. It is exposing a lot of trash, of bullshit. It is exposing a lot of condescension. And if you don't know what condescension is, but I have completely switched off. If you haven't watched it already, I get that this podcast so far makes no fucking sense to you, but go back and watch from last week. CMA podcast, Too Much Information. I basically just outline the amount of crap that's coming in every single direction, through your phone, through people you talk to, through the news, through fucking everything. And it is too much for me, and I have completely switched off of it. And I'm on week 2 of lack of horse shit, and I feel fucking great. And I want more people to feel as good as I feel right fucking now. And I'm not going to stop swearing on this one because I'm feeling good. I don't know. So I post the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, the listening podcast through a podcast host. And I promote it through my personal and like the personal Facebook and Instagram, and then City Martial Arts. And the amount of private messages that I got on night number 1 from watching, or from having posted the podcast, was insane. And, you know, to quote a few that were public, was like, I had no idea how angry I was until you said it, Dave. I'm like, God damn it, man, that hits me. I'm not the only one. So fucking strange to feel that, because there's part of me that's happy that I know someone else is feeling the same way I feel, but it's also sad because other people are feeling this shit about this whole fucking world we live in right now. God damn it, man. I almost cried this morning. I went into Lucerne town, and I met with someone who lives quite close to us. And not from Switzerland. And I we were having a bit of chit chat, and I said, "What are you doing for Christmas?" And they're like, "Man, we're going home, man. We're going to be with our families." And I'm like, "Fuck yes." He said, "That's more important than anything, being with your family at Christmas." I'm like, "Fuck yes. That is exactly how I feel." So, just 2 weeks now, I have been completely avoiding the news. 2 weeks now, I have been active on social media, but monitoring my usage. And anytime something with a reference to COVID or restrictions or whatever, something comes up, I turn the app off. Or on 2 separate occasions, I scrolled past, but I didn't feel the urge to read it, review it. Do I agree with it? Do I disagree with it? Is it funny? It's just like, I'm done with all that fucking topic right now. So I just feel great because of it. So, again, if you haven't seen my episode, Too Much Information last week, please go back and watch it and tell me what you think. And if you think I'm full of shit, please tell me I'm full of shit and explain why. But just know that there are a lot of people out there that agree with me and that life needs to get back to normal. And this topic needs to stop being pushed in such a divisive and horrible manner, to the point where I see people in their 50s and 60s on their own, walking the streets with their hunched over backs, with a mask and a see-through visor and rubber gloves on their fucking hand. It's embarrassing that we've become that fucking divisive as a society. Papers, please. The very people pushing a non-Nazi society are in favor of a papers, please society, where you have to confirm your identity no matter what you do. If you want to get a coffee and a fucking sandwich, fuck off. I got my first copyright strike from YouTube during the week, with tremendous regret, from a friend of mine from many years back, a Mr. Denzel Washington, reached out to me personally. We go back. Sent me an email. I have it here. Yo, Davey boy. In brackets, dear Mr. Keane. I hadn't talked to him in quite a while. Love your podcast. Miss you. Our many parties we shared in Los Angeles and in Hollywood when you were there. With tremendous regret, you must cease immediately the use of my voice on your podcast, even though I'm a huge fan and always will be. I have informed YouTube accordingly, and the voice that you've used will be muted. But please feel free to use any further Denzel Washington references accordingly as you see fit. Lots of love. Regards to the family. Have a lovely, wonderful, safe holiday. My N.I. and then it's redacted. I don't know what that is. Denzel. 2 kisses. Amazing. It was very nice of him. But yeah, I guess you can't just use someone's voice and expect it to be okay. So I got a YouTube a copyright strike. Got it muted, and we move on. I'm all right with that. But yeah. But enough ranting now about that fucking topic that I'm trying to avoid by doing a second podcast talking about it. Yeah, I'm aware of the irony. Did you guys watch the fights at the weekend? Huge upset. The podcast that I did with Evo, partner in crime, where we talk about what we believe is going to happen. I'm not afraid to be wrong. And I'm not in a position where I need to be afraid to be wrong. I watched the podcast back. I was so confident that Amanda Nunes would beat Juliana Pena. And I don't like how confident I was in suggesting that it was going to be so lopsided in favor of Amanda. But we get things wrong. That's another problem in society. We're afraid to be wrong. We're afraid to put ourselves in a position where a guaranteed outcome is not so guaranteed. I was fully convinced, and so was a lot of bookmakers and gamblers, lost a lot of money at the weekend. But Amanda Nunes got her ass beat against the underdog. But I was wrong. I thought that she would win. And I'm not going to delete that podcast or any comments I made. I think we need to be more accountable for our words. You got two fuck knuckles in the UFC called Conor McGregor and John Jones, who get drunk and high on cocaine, allegedly, and who send out these stupid tweets at stupid o'clock in the morning confirming just how stupid they are. Wake up the next morning and the news headlines: deleted tweet from Conor McGregor, deleted tweet from John Jones. It's just like, own your words. I was wrong. I was wrong about a lot of things. I was wrong about Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena. Now you got a Venezuelan champion in the UFC. And it was a great fight. And I would watch it again. I watched it a couple of times just so I can sit down and talk about it with Evo. And then Dustin Poirier got pretty much ragdolled in the second round against Charles Oliveira. And still delighted for Charles. But let's see what happens now in the 155-pound division. But I want to save that for a talk with Evo, because I don't like talking about fights when it's just me on my own. But yeah, don't be afraid to get things wrong. Own your words, as I said. Like make your predictions. I'm not talking about fighting. I'm talking about in general. Everyone's just to the fucking last needs to be right. They would rather continue being wrong and save face than just say, hey, I got that one wrong. Tea is fucking gorgeous. But yeah, I think this is going to be a very short podcast today, guys. I don't really have that much to say, other than I am so struck at how much traction last week's podcast, Too Much Information, got. I'm so happy that others felt comfortable reaching out to me. People I don't even know, for some reason, contacted me and said, wise words, thank you very much. This is how I've been feeling. We're kind of stuck, not able to communicate now for fear of being called a conspiracy theorist. But at the end of the day, you just gotta live your fucking life, man. Otherwise, let's all just stay at home, afraid, under our beds, and do nothing until this passes. They've taken 2 years from us already. They're probably going to take another 4. And I'm not going to stand by while that happens. I'm going to go live my life. And I think the people who reached out to me who are feeling this way are doing the same. So be scared. Stay at home. Keep washing your fucking hands and wearing a mask when you're in the shower. That's all I say. Guys, thank you very much for listening. Again, a very short podcast today. I'm just basically here today to just say thank you to everybody who's listening. It's a crazy time, and for us to come together now more than ever is so important, and pushing out that message of positivity and saying, hey, it's okay to be different. It's okay to not cave into peer pressure. It's okay to just follow your gut, I guess. And not, as I said, peer pressure. Brought up as a child, I was always told, don't fucking cave to peer pressure. If he jumped off a cliff, would you jump too? How many times did I hear that? And all of a sudden I'm in a position where I'm like, hey, I don't want to do what fucking a lot of people over here are doing. I want to just see what this path is like first. You get criticized and get called a conspiracy theorist and all that wonderful stuff, guys. Thank you very much for listening. If you are watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you are listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, thank you very much. Those numbers are skyrocketing. I thought that this podcast would be more visual based, which is why I started on YouTube. But as it turns out, I got an ugly mug. So people just want to hear my deep Irish voice with a microphone in front of it. But yeah, if you think I can make any adjustments in the podcast, or if you want me to talk less about something else and more about something else, or a celebrity that you think would be great for the podcast, or a fighter or a coach or someone going through something, if you want to come on the podcast yourself and have things to say, send me a message, reach out. But I really appreciate all my listeners, all my watchers, everything to do with all of this. And yeah, I got nothing else to say today, guys. Thank you very much. And I wish you guys a pleasant morning, afternoon, evening. Rock and roll.